Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Data's Interruptis, my show. This last date, this is not going to be funny and it's not going to be gross nor sad. It just is what it is. So, the most interesting thing about this guy was that he's a fashion designer. He, likes to sew, and I thought that was very interesting. He does a lot of Halloween costumes, as you all know I do, so I thought, well, that would be a really good thing that we could do together, because, I'm looking for commonality here. I think a lot of people are wondering, who am I swiping right on? And honestly, anyone who is seeming interesting that we might have something in common, that they might be nice. Maybe that's not the way to go about it. I don't know, because I haven't found anybody who I've gone out with remotely attractive. Now, I guess all their pictures, they look much better than what they actually look like in person, I'm realizing. I try to take good pictures of myself and put those up, but ones I feel like that actually look like me, not like, oh, this is the best picture of me ever and I don't really look like that. I don't know. So, this guy I already knew going in, he had tattoos all over his head and part of his face. Now, I realize that's a lot, but I have a lot of tattoos and I have a unique look about me myself. So, as long as somebody is a nice person and, they are gainfully employed, respectful, all that, yada, yada, yada. I mean, it doesn't matter what they look like, if they're taking care of themselves. So anyways, so we had a good phone conversation. It felt like it was going really well on the phone. First the text, then the phone, then we did video. So I followed the steps. Even in the video, he seemed cute, and I saw he had a big beard, like long, and a big mustache. And then obviously the whole face tattoo and the head tattoo. And he said he very much identified with being a pirate. Now that I say that out loud, that sounds kind of wild, but it's like, who am I to judge? Because I very much identify with being a tigress. So I thought, okay, but would I get tiger stripes on my face? No, that's a lot. That's a lot. Well, okay, his full-time job is he's a citizen worker in the Navy and was able to, he fixes boats and ships and whatnot, and he used to be in the Navy doing the same thing, and now he's a citizen worker, and now this is really his passion, is the fashion design. And so, during the date, aside from him being more piratey than I was thinking he was going to be in person, and I'm talking so piratey that, like, he wants to get his leg tattooed as a peg leg. I have a lot of tiger stripes. I don't know. This could go, but the thing is, it's not going to work. And here's why: because during the date, it was this coffee place he chose, and he was nice. He got me my chai, which was nice. That was sweet of him. But he talked mostly about himself. So he would ask me a question here or there, but for every 5 minutes of his talking was really like 1 minute of my talking. And he just kept talking about fashion design, and now he's making these overalls and just different fashion creations that he wants to make. And then he was talking about all the tattoos he wants. Like, I thought this man looked like he was almost completely covered in tattoos. I mean, his neck, both his hands, his arms, and his face, and yet he's talking about more things plus scarification after blackening him out. Okay, so there's no accounting for people's barometer on how far we go on these tattoos, right? Like, y'all know me, I have a lot, but there's more out there, folks. There are more. And, there was a piercing he told me about in a particular place. I asked because I was just curious. I saw like this areas where he had piercings in the past. I have had some in my face as well. Y'all know me. So no judgment. I was just curious, but there was one piercing he talked about being in a particular spot. It seems dangerous. So I don't know. On top of him not asking me nearly enough about myself, way too much conversation about fashion. He basically also described his house as being almost like a hoarding situation with fashion items and swatches of fabric and leather and whatnot for his sewing machines and whatnot. Like, it sounds like he's really passionate about sewing and costuming, and I get it, but he didn't ask me enough about me. I'm sorry, not a match. I was bored. Next. So he did ask me at the end of the day, oh, would you want to hang out again? And I said, well, I think as friends it might be okay, but and maybe it will be. I said maybe we could do some costume thing together. I don't know what, but you know, I'm always trying to look at the silver lining here. So in this episode, I've learned, I guess the best thing is I had my escape route. I got out when I wanted to. I didn't, there wasn't anything bad about it. It just wasn't a match. And I could have kept going with it. I probably could have ended it earlier. That's a lesson for next time, because I got there at around 1:40 and I left at like 3:10. So that's not a ton of time, but I did know pretty earlier. He did ask me what I thought of him early on in the date, and I said, you do seem a lot more piratey than I imagined. And he's like, piratey? And he knew that wasn't a good thing. It could have worked. It could have worked for him if he was more interested in me. Then I wouldn't have cared if he came in with an eye patch on and the whole 9 yards. If he had the whole Johnny Depp situation going on, maybe that could have been cute. Again, you got to show more interest in me. So, thanks for letting me process. There's probably not going to be a date number 2 with this guy. Sheesh, all this is a colossal waste of time, and these videos are getting long. I might need to do this one again, but thanks for letting me process.